Hello everyone, welcome to another repair video. So in this video today we're going to be working on a PS4 which won't accept any discs into the drive. So this PS4 has got quite a bit of history with me. It came to me about a week ago now because the customer tried to clean it out and it was overheating after they cleaned it out. So basically what happened with this was it was incorrectly reassembled and the console was overheating because the heatsink clamp, which is one of these here, was on like that. So this little nipple on the heatsink clamp is meant to go that way, so as when you press down on it, it basically pushes down onto the motherboard. So that was the wrong way. They also cleaned off the thermal paste and didn't reapply any, and they also lost half of the thermal pads. So it was incorrectly reassembled and it was causing major overheating issues. I sorted all of that out for them, so I treated it like a normal service because I had to take it completely apart to reassemble it properly, and I charged them a normal £20 PS4 cleaning service price. And then it come back a day later because they had asked me to extract a disc from the disk drive at the same time, and I completely forgot to do it. So I did that for free, and then it come back again because it's not reading discs. Now the reason that the disc was extracted from the drive in the first place was because it wasn't reading discs. This is a spare console of the customers, and they decided afterwards that they want the disc drive fixing. So I said, okay, bring it back and I'll see what I can do with it. So they brought it back, I changed the disc drive, I tested all of the fuses on the daughter board, and still no luck with this. So it's obviously a problem with the main board itself. So I thought to make a video because I haven't come across one on a YouTube video where it's not accepting discs because of something other than the actual disc drive itself. So I thought, yeah, why not? Let's make a video on this. You know, the customer is a lovely older gentleman, and he hasn't got a clue about consoles. He did say to me, I think it needs thermal paste, and he was right. But other than that, he doesn't really know much about them. This is his son's console, and like I said, it's a spare. So there was no real rush for this console to come back, but you know, I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's just get it done for him. Let's get this console back up to a former glory, and make a video while we're at it. So I'm going to show you the problem first of all. So I'll just take a power lead. I don't need to show you the display for this. You'll see that it comes onto a white light. The console does work absolutely fine, so I don't need to unplug the HDMI from my computer and things like that. But I'll show you the problem. Now, what should be happening is when we offer a disc up to this, it should turn the console on, and then it should take the disc in as it turns the console on. So basically that's what should happen. Now, when I offer a disc up to this, it does turn the console on, but it doesn't take the disc. The motor doesn't spin. Nothing at all happens whatsoever. So I know this is an Xbox disc. I don't know where my PS4 test discs have gone. I keep misplacing them, so I'm just going to use an Xbox disc. It's still a disc, it'll still turn the console on, it should still take the disc in, but it doesn't. So let's just pop this in, and you'll see that does turn the console on, but nothing at all happens when I offer up the disc. When I press the disc drive button, we get the beep, but again, nothing happens. So this comes onto a white light, as you can see. I believe that's probably going into safe mode. Or it's checking the system storage because of the way it's been unplugged. But yeah, it's just not taking a disc whatsoever. Now, as I said, I've already verified that this is not an issue with the mechanical side of the disc drive. It's not a motor issue, it's not a roller issue, and as far as I can tell, it's not a daughter board issue either. So it's going to be something very likely on the main board. Now, I did try another daughter board in this, and unfortunately that didn't work as well. Now, I know that you can't swap the daughter boards in this without changing the main board itself. Let me just cover that light up because it'll mess with the autofocus. Yeah, so I know you can't actually change the daughter boards in these, but it should still, if there was a fault with the disc drive on the daughter board side, it should still take the disc in, and it obviously doesn't. So let's just unplug this. It's already gone into safe mode anyway, so let's take it apart. and let's see what we can do about getting this console back up and running, shall we? There we go. So, just about taking the motherboard out now. So this is the SAB001. Oh dear, yuck. Thermal paste. Right, but before we go any further, I'm going to have to clean off this thermal paste again, which means I've got to put fresh on, because that's been disturbed. So I'll just clean that off there. I don't want that all over my hands. There we go. Okay. So here is the disk drive circuit on the other side of the board. So I'm just going to take a quick look and just see if I can see. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me know if you see it, guys. Can you see it yet? I can see something that's out of place there. I'm not sure if you can. Right, okay, so I've just had to look under the microscope, and there's actually another problem with this circuit which I didn't spot straight away. And that is there's some more damage. So not only do we have a capacitor which has been knocked up here, but we also have a component knocked up here. So this component, you can see here, is actually lifted up. So it's only on two legs right now, and it's completely come away from the board on the one side. So you can see there, that transistor is basically meant to look like this here. So two legs on the bottom, one on the top, but you can see pretty obviously that that's meant to be flat to the board, and it's not. So these are actually relatively simple fixes. Now the only problem is I need to know if there's any more damage. I mean, looking at it, I can't really see anything. I can see some kind of issue here, so I'm not sure what this is on top of here. I don't know if it's dried up thermal paste that's been, you know, spilt over or something like that. But oh, we've actually got a chip completely missing here as well. So there's quite a bit of damage to this area. Now I believe this is related to the disk drive area. I'm not 100% sure because I've never gone this far into repairing a disk drive on these consoles. However, I believe this is the disk drive area, and there's actually a missing component here, which is quite interesting really. Someone's done some serious damage to this really. When you consider we've got I didn't even see this until a second ago. So we've got a missing component just here. We've got a lifted component here, and we've got a lifted component here. So I don't think I'm going to actually know the full extent of the damage until it's under the microscope. So that's going to be the next step, because the first thing we need to do is obviously replace these components. When it comes to this capacitor here and this transistor here, then we can actually just use the heat gun and just knock these back down into place, resolder these on. This component here, I don't know what it is. I do not have a clue, so I'm going to have to find the exact same area on the same board, and I'm going to have to take one off of a donor board and solder it on. I'm assuming it's going to be one of these little packages here, but obviously it's going to have to be the exact same one. Like I said, I've taken this console completely apart myself, and I've not noticed any components falling out, which means this has happened when it's been at the owner's house. Quite lucky that it hasn't ripped any pads off by the looks of it. So this pad up here looks okay. I'm not sure about these, it's a bit too small to see with this camera, so I'm going to have to zoom in on the microscope for that. These pads look okay. I mean, other than that, actually I can see that. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, the pad under there is absolutely fine, so I can resolder that on. Yeah, that component with the fuzz all over it, that's a little bit concerning. I'm not really too sure what that is. And you know, I'm just being honest here. I don't usually do disk drive repairs. I usually do things like liquid damage and stuff like that. You know, like not powering on and things. I don't usually get this far into disk drive repairs because I don't see them. No one ever brings them. You know, usually if someone's bringing a disk drive console in for a disk drive repair, it's mechanical. It's not component level. So yeah, it's very very rare to see something like this, especially with user damage. As far as I can tell, there's no other components missing. So we've got this one here, we've got this one here, and we've got this one here and this one here. So there's 4 components missing. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to heat up the area, resolder this connection, resolder this connection, and then I'm going to have to take this component and this component. This is going to be some sort of a little filter or a capacitor. I'm going to say, given the fact that it's connected to ground, it's going to be a capacitor. But I'm going to have to take this component and this component off the exact same location on a daughter board, on a donor board. And I'll probably end up changing this as well while I'm at it, because I don't know what that fuzz is on there. So yeah, I mean, I've scraped away at that and it's not really coming up, so it could well be a burn on the chip. Obviously I haven't looked too much at it, but it could well be a burn on the chip, so I'm probably going to replace this as well. So 5 components, and hopefully this disk drive will start to work again. So join me over by the soldering station and we'll get these components replaced to try and fix this console, shall we? Right, okay ladies and gents, so back over on the soldering area, and we're going to go ahead and see what we can do about getting these components either replaced or repaired. Yeah, it's going to be as simple as resoldering a couple of components on. So let's just get started, shall we? So like I say, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and resolder the components that are still there. So that's going to be the little transistor thing here, which has been knocked up, and also the capacitor, which has been knocked about. That's pretty much off the board, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. So I'm going to pop it somewhere where I'm going to be able to find it. There is a very small component. So I'll move that where I can find it. And the capacitor probably isn't necessary, to be honest, but I'll put it back anyway, just because it was there for a reason. The capacitor will probably make absolutely no difference at all to the operation of the console. Usually, especially capacitors that small, you can generally live without them. But because it was there and because I've got it in sight, I know where it is, I'm not gonna leave it out. I'm gonna put it back. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare these pads for this tiny capacitor by adding a tiny dabble of flux. And then I'm just going to tin these pads. Using leaded solder. There we go. And I'm going to do the same for where this little transistor is. So let's just this is a bit of an awkward angle because the component's still in its place. I'll just come over the top of it. I love this curved tip. It's brilliant. Right, okay, so those 2 pads are prepared. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use some hot air, and I'll obviously have to mute this because of the vibrations. But I'm going to use some hot air, and I'm just going to knock these components back into place, and then we can get to replacing the components that are missing. So I've got my hot air set to 480 degrees, airflow set to 4 out of 8. And that's blew away, so I'm going to have to replace that as well. Okay, so I've got myself a donor board here, and I'm going to start pulling components off this and then placing them onto the motherboard we're trying to fix. Right, so I need to work out exactly what I need. So what I'm going to do is, because these components are so small, I'm going to have to prepare these pads first. So I only prepared the one pad on that little transistor thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to prepare the other pads for that component. So I'll add a bit more flux. There we go. Right, so those pads are prepared. And let's add some flux just here as well. And just prepping those pads for that component as well. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to have to look on the donor board and find it. So I'm going to have to find exactly where that is. So let me move this one out of the way. And here is the donor board. So we've got these two components here which we need to take off. We've got this component here, and we've got a little capacitor here. I think that's all that's missing. I think. I'm not sure. We'll double check. So first of all, let's take off this this package here, which is this 6-legged thing. So I'm going to take that off using hot air. And I'm going to set my airflow to 5 out of 8, because this is lead-free solder. Right, so I've got that component in my hand, so I'm keeping it in the correct orientation. Pop the donor board to one side and pop the board we're working on back. And this isn't going to take long to put back on. Okay, so let's just add a bit more flux, and then we'll let surface tension pull that into the correct position. Okay, and now, because this is a component with legs, I'm going to run over with the iron as well. There we go. So that should be in position now. Right, so now I'm going to move this back out of the way. And I'm going to take the next component that I need. Okay, so I'm going to be quick with this because these are very small components. I do not want to lose this. Not sure if I have any more SAB 001 motherboards lying around, so I don't want to lose this component. Alright, so that's stuck down now, so I can add some flux. There we go, that's pulled into place. Okay, on to the next one. Right, so what else are we missing? So we've got these components back here. So we're missing a capacitor up here. Right, so let me get those pads back to normal because they seem to have gone a little bit weird. There we go. Right, so we're missing this capacitor here and we're missing this component just here. I don't think there's any more missing. Right, okay. So let's move the board back out of the way. Let's put the donor board back there. Okay. So it's this thing here. These are very, very small components. There we go. So it's taking a little bit longer to remove these components because I've got the airflow set down. And the reason for that is because these are very small components and I don't want them all to fly away. So here's the donor board. Here's the board we're working on. Okay, so let's add a little bit more flux and then surface tension will pull that in. I think that capacity is fairly straight. And we've got one final component to replace, which is going to be that little three-legged transistor thing. Okay. So, donor board for one final time. And it's going to be this thing here, what we need. And I think that should be it then. Okay. and just a little gentle nudge, and that pushed that into place. Right, okay, so I'm going to give this board a quick clean. I'm just going to get every last bit of flux residue off there that I can get off. Don't really want to leave this board dirty, if I can help it. And I've got a feeling this is probably going to fix the issue, to be honest. Right, so I'm going to double check, I'm going to confirm and make sure that we don't have any more missing components. Right, so from what I can tell, there's nothing else missing from this. Yep, that circuit looks okay. Right, okay, so I just need to give the board a bit of a better clean because it's still got quite a lot of flux on it. But as far as I can tell, there's no more missing components. We should be good to get this back into the chassis and test it out. Yeah, it's quite an interesting repair, to be honest. I've never seen any damage to this area. Especially considering it was just a few random components like dotted off in different places. As far as I'm aware, the disk drive pairing is done through the EEPROM. That's according to a friend of mine who actually only told me yesterday. So basically I want to find out how to change the disk drive in these if you lose the original board. And I asked a friend of mine and he said that it's all done through the EEPROM. He said that you can rewrite the EEPROM. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm going to try and experience it one day. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this back over onto the bench and we'll give it a test, see if it's working. Okay, so here we are back on the bench and got the chassis in front of me. I'm just going to give that a little clean just to get this thermal paste off. Not really going to call it old because I only put it on there a couple of days ago. But it's been disturbed and I never take a console apart without replacing thermal paste. I don't care if I have to take it apart 10 times, I will replace that thermal paste every single time, because once you disturb it from the pressure, it's never going to do its job properly again. But yeah, let's get this tested and hopefully I can go to bed because it's 1 AM. So that must show dedication to the cause, but let's go ahead and put some fresh thermal paste on this anyway. So if this doesn't work now, I'll probably pause the video and go to bed. I'm going fishing tomorrow, so it's Saturday, well it's actually Sunday morning now. Yeah, for the record, that is absolutely a fine amount of paste. It's not a thick layer. I'm using a very thin nozzle, and that's why I'll just put it in a big circle. Yes, I'm going fishing tomorrow, so I'm going to be up in 6 hours. 5 hours actually, sorry, not 6. So if this doesn't work now, I'll probably resume the video tomorrow evening once I get back from my fishing day. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a day off. My partner said to me the other day, she said you need to take a break, and I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. Right, so let's get this back together enough to test. So we're going to take the heatsink clamp. We're going to make sure that that is on the right way. I did say to this customer the other day, in terms of cleaning, I did a pretty good job. That was before I saw this damage, but in terms of actually cleaning out the heatsink and stuff, it was spot on. There was not a speck of dust in there. But yeah, it's quite an interesting repair. And I've just left the microscope app on the phone, switched on, and now my battery's dead. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so first of all, I apologise if that audio sucked for a couple of minutes there. I left the microphone over on the other side of the desk, like an idiot, because I don't think. But yeah, I'll try and enhance it if it's a little bit quiet, but I do apologise if there's a couple of minutes of really bad audio. I know the audio is not the best. I'm using a cheap Mayono microphone, and it was a £50 microphone, but it's certainly not worth £50. Yeah, they asked me to review this, and I said no, because it's just not good. It's not up to review quality. There you go, Mayono. There's your review. It's not the best microphone in the world, ladies and gents. But yeah, they actually asked me to review it for Amazon. So they basically sent it me. Asked me to put a review on Amazon, and I told them straight, if I put a review on Amazon, it's not going to be a good one. Anyway, right, let's take the power supply. And let's plug in some power. Really hoping this works now. Okay, so we're going to power this on in 3, 2, 1. No proofs of smoke. Right, so let's get a disc. And let's see if this accepts a disc. You ready? Yes! There we go, ladies and gents. Yes! Oh, that's awesome. Oh. Oh dear. Oh, that's not spinning properly, is it? Right, let's might have to change the disk drive again. I did change it yesterday. Which yeah, at least it's got power to the disk drive now. That's a good thing. So there's power to the disk drive. That's awesome. So let's shut this off. Let's get this back together, or at least let's get this side back together, and then we can flip it over, change that disk drive again, because I could have put a faulty one in there. I don't know. But let's change this disk drive again, and then we'll see if we can get it working, shall we? Okay, so that part's back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power it on now. So I'm going to pop the power lead in. And I'm also going to pop the HDMI in as well. And let's turn it on. Okay, let's eject that disc because that's the wrong disc anyway. There we go. That's an Xbox disc, so it's not going to read regardless. Okay, so I've got myself a PS4 disc. So connect up a controller. And now I'm going to pop in a disc. So I've got myself NBA 2K17 for the PS4. So let's pop this in. Not enough free space. But that does work. So it comes up PlayStation 4 format disc because we don't have enough space to install it, but that is absolutely perfect. That is working fine. The disc is taken in and it's reading the disc absolutely fine. So let's go ahead and shut down this PS4. And I'm going to flip the console over. And now all that's left to do is to finish screwing in these screws. Let's pop the bottom cover back on. And that, ladies and gents, is done. So let's just give it one final test. So I'm going to do what I did at the start. I'm going to pop in the power cable. And I'm going to offer up a disc while it's turned off. So to give it time for the power supply to kick in. It does take a few seconds on these consoles. And then we'll offer up the disc. And there we go. So as you can see, that is absolutely fine. As you saw on the screen, it is reading that as a disc in the drive. The reason that it was trying to spit it out was because it was an Xbox disc and it just doesn't like them. Because Xbox and Sony are not friends. Not anymore. Anyway, right, so just to summarise, this console originally came to me because it was incorrectly reassembled, and it's turned out that the customer has also damaged the disk drive circuitry, knocking off a few components, 4 components in total needed replacing. So as you saw, we did that and reassembled it, and everything's working absolutely perfectly as it should. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you do need a repair, please have a look in the video description. There will be a link to my Facebook page and also an email address where you can contact me to organise a repair. If you do have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I do try my best to answer as many questions and comments as I can. I do read all comments, but I don't always get the chance to reply. So leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Yeah, leave a thumbs up on the video if you liked it, and if you want to see more trying to fix videos where I try and fix mainly consoles but sometimes other things as well, such as water damaged phones, then hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you get notified when I upload. I am trying my very best to get to 5,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you could subscribe, that would really be appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and until next time, see you all later. Bye for now.